This is Finishing School by John C. Havens. Oh, yes, Mr. and Mrs. Smithers, good morning. Did you have a nice drive up past all the lovely foliage? Our school has some of the best in the area. We have award-winning high biscuits. Speaking of biscuits, would you like one? Nice chalky bicky with some tea? No? Hot water? Steamed milk? How about stomps? Do you enjoy them? I am an avid collector. I actually have 278 different stomps that all feature different pictures of melons, if you can believe that. There's cantaloupes, guava, muskmelon. Pardon? Oh, well, I believe it's called muskmelon, or perhaps that's the cologne I'm wearing. Anywho, I also collect coins with pictures of figs on them. Unfortunately, there's only one I have so far, and... What? Stalling? Stalling? That's such a funny thing for you to say, because I would never do that. It's such a funny joke. And that reminds me of a joke. I have to tell it in a Russian accent. Comrade, what do you call coffee that makes you faint? Joe Stalling. Get it? Joe Coffee Stalling. Joe Stalling. Right. Well, I suppose as it is the end of the semester, you'll be wanting to see little Reginald. Yes. Lovely. Let me begin by saying that I appreciate that by having your son attend here, you have put your most sacred trust in me in my finishing school for young boys. And that is why it is with deep regret that I must inform you that dear Reggie is dead. Now, I can surmise by your collective expression that you will require an explanation as to your son's earthly removal. Fair enough, you did have a rather long drive to get here, after all. Past all the foliage. Did I mention the hibiscus? Ah, yes, I did. You see, in the short time your blessed urchin was amongst us, he alone was the catalyst for the mental derangement and or physical incapacitation of 3/4 of my student body. Lovely Reggie, spawn of your loins, revelled in terrorizing all his classmates by engaging in such quaint and, shall I say, banal pranks such as hooking up electrical wires to the urine on the boys' room. Suffice it to say, being awoken from your slumber at 3 a.m. to the unholy shrieking of a 10-year-old boy is not, as I say, eating a lovely ripe watermelon with a bit of brown sugar. In fact, I still remember vividly what Tony McDoyle said as he came howling out of the bathroom that morning. It was his yelling that awoke me, you see. The poor lad was already the target of so much ridicule, what with being the only Irish student in the whole school, and having a rather horrid lisp. I mean, shut up me body, and now I mean, the bards! Then there was a time Reggie put gunpowder on one of the cricket balls. I should point out here, Mr. and Mrs. Smithers, that your son did receive an A in chemistry before his untimely dismissal. Nevertheless, as I was saying, our cricket master, Fergie McBatty, was teaching a group of students how to hit at cricket a few months back. He asked for a new ball, and Reggie, an uncharacteristic show of people obsequiousness, volunteered to get a ball from the sports shed. I shall relate the rest of the story to you, as Mr. McBatty did from his hospital bed a few weeks ago. The poor man had all of his hair singed off from the blast. Aunt Fergie was not a handsome man to begin with. His beard and bushy eyebrows were welcome cover of his rather, shall we say, orangutanian features. So there I was teaching me 9 o'clock cricket class when we little Reg volunteers to get me a ball. Mind ye, I was a wee bit suspicious what with Reg pulling his usual prankies, but I thought I cut the lad a brekkie. This was my fatal error. Oh, I tossed the ball in the air and struck it with all my might. And mind you, I'm no dandy. And when me bat hit that range of spirit, it cracked like a bar of a rodeo clown's noggin. Gunpowder exploded all over me face and me neck and all my hair was singed off in a wee bit of a second. Thanks be to Wattle, that rinse into cricket didn't actually hurt too much. I just look like a circus freak with me bold noggin sounding like a new Riles of rice. I'll think it to keep Reggie far away from ferreting me, batting me cricket field from now on. I can't afford another tenderizer from the little with snap. And so, those who survived Reggie's escapades, such as this one, or other earthly romps such as Big Spider in Sleeping Mouth Gag, retained much psychological damage of actually escaping physically unscathed. And so, myself being a main target of your son's sadistic ministrations, found myself one bright fall morning at the bedside of none other than the range tot we all know, knew, and once loved. I smiled to myself warmly, as I remember with great fondness the time he hung my undertrousers from the flagpole, and what a treat it was when he burned me in effigy, right as my parent-teacher conference was ending. Oh, yes! That was a real chuckle and a half. I remembered all these things as I stared down at your slumbering child's cherubic little countenance, right before I smothered him with this stuffed pony toy. Oh, what's that, Mrs. Smithers? Oh, that was a birthday present from you. It's lovely, really, very realistic colouring. And pleasingly thick. And so, in summation, due to his Kafkaesque treatment of myself and his peers, I think it fair that it was I who was the instrument of your precious child's demise. And mind you, there were many more who would have soon taken the same course of action as I, the constabulary included. I marvelled at how simple it was to gingerly place my 2 hands around your son's pony toy, and press at Reg's foul little kumquat noggin till the raspy guttural demon's breath of that foul and wretched hatchling of Satan passed no more through his blackened lungs to our precious earth! Die, you wretched, twisted cretin! Well, of course, you will be receiving a full refund of Reggie's tuition, and surely you'll be wanting personal articles and such. His body, unfortunately, is unavailable, as the entire student body and I burned it in an ebullient frenzy while dancing round a fabricated maple and scattered his ashes to the 4 winds. I have, however, crumpled a chocolate biscuit into a tin in the wake of proper ashes. Here! So sorry about choking your son to death and all that. Well then, speaking of biscuits, anyone for tea? Thank you. Thanks everyone.